Yeah, this has been great.
I literally could keep talking for hours with you.
We did pretty well in terms of our timing.
Journey and story is so magical. And like, I mean, I needed this morning. I needed this.
It's a good Monday. You should do these on Monday mornings because it's a great way to kick off the week.
Yeah. Well, we're also with you, and that helps because there's such a beautiful energy here in SheSpace.
That's quite kind. Yeah, but SheSpace really cool. is a great place to be on a cloudy Monday morning. Yeah. Anytime, but especially on a cloudy Monday. And can we say yes, thank you, cool?
So, morning? Y'all, Friday. So I mentioned that we had the fashion designer in who founded Lonnie. And so we were really fortunate to, two of their investors, or her investors, are really good friends of ours.
Oh, nice.
And so we had an event at our house on the 12th floor, and it was so beautiful. It's called the Sky Lounge. And she did a pop-up shop, and we had happy hour. And it was just such a like magical, special evening. So we went from the podcast over to there, and it was just so lively and had lots of good humans there. And I was walking one of my friends out. I was the first male to ever buy a pair of her shoes.
Yes.
Which, you know, why absolutely I would, because I am here for it. Like, and I was just so in love with them. I was like, I need these. And she's like, Brad, you're the first male to ever buy these shoes. I'm like, one, that's ridiculous. Like, come on, they're gorgeous. And two, like, more guys should lean into the Lonnie brand, I believe. So that said, I walked one of my friends out in our slippers because we both bought matching slippers, as we should. And it was so cold, and I had zero idea a cold front was coming in. I'm horrible at checking the weather.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is amazing. I mean, I was so stoked. And then this morning it's continued. We're on day 4, if you count Friday night.
Well, it's going to run for the next like 7 days.
Yes, I checked it this morning. Yeah. It's like, okay, how many sweaters can I wear in the next 7 days?
It's time to like break out the long sleeves.
I'm so happy. So it just makes style so much easier. I have so many more layers to work with, and I'm not so confined to like a pair of shorts and a t-shirt.
How many layers can I put on
today? It's like a freeing moment. When the weather is cold, Brad is free.
Because I mean, it's just so like, I don't have a lot of options when it's hot. You know, I can do the cuff roll on the pants to give it a little personality. I can mix it up with some fun shoes, but I've got like a t-shirt.
Limited.
Yeah, and I don't like the way that like collared shirts look on me. I don't know, the bald head and the beard, it just gives me a weird vibe and energy. So I typically go with like a Henley or like a t-shirt. And it's amazing that I get to layer up.
Now. I need to know where this store is because I'm going to New York on Wednesday night.
Okay. So it's called Hot Theory.
Is it in Brooklyn?
I think it's Hot Theory, right? Yeah.
Okay.
So there's one in Manhattan. There's a few. There's one in Manhattan.
Okay.
And I don't know exactly where. I want to say kind of near Chelsea.
That would make sense.
That feels right. And then there's one other one as well. I know they have 2 locations in Manhattan that aren't too far from each other. But please go support them. Hot Theory, support dope females. Like, major shout out. Check them out. They're phenomenal. And Hot is HAUTE Theory.
Yeah, we drop it in the show notes.
Yeah, and I'm really supportive of what they're doing. They have a whole
Etsy
line.
Shop.
Yeah, they also have an Etsy shop. And it's just incredible. I
will go in person.
Yeah, please go check. And they're just the most lovely people. I mean, it's also like consignment, so they have a little bit of everything. I want to know what's the first store that we went to is. It was right by a place where we had brunch. So I'm going to ask Sky, and I'm going to text you and let you know, because both stores were really neat, but that store was a little smaller, a little more intimate, and you had more time to speak with the people that were working there. But it was just, it's amazing. I mean, I want every color, I think. And I tried to buy every color, and Sky told me no, because we're also trying to be better stewards about, like, you know, being financially and fiscal and all that stuff. So I'm learning. Sky's the very financially, fiscally smart one. Brad. I'm the one who is less so. I need more discipline there. I'm working on it. And I was like, I want every color. And she's like, you get one. You're not buying every color. Like, that's a little excessive. And I was like, okay, fine. And I'm so excited. I was like, I want them all. And so I did not get every color yet, but I wear that shirt. The only reason I'm not wearing it right now is because I just wore it on Friday.
And you're wearing this one.
And I have this one, which I also love. Yeah. This is from Change, CHNGE. Also a big fan of what they're doing. And they do a lot of sustainable cottons. And so I think this one's actually water cotton, which I had to research. That was cool. So that's the thing. I think it's even more sustainable when it's water-based cotton. Learning so many things in life.
See, I'm going to have to look that up because I'm like, how does that work? Okay.
We need to have a little fashion corner. Brad on the podcast.
I know, but I'm like a newbie at this fashion thing. I'm just learning. I'm about a year in, and I'm like super fascinated by it.
But have always been interested in it, and
Yes.
you're just now like embracing the fact that this can be something. Like, explain the year thing.
Yeah. So, I mean, I've always kind of in my own way tried to do like fashionable things just because I just enjoy it. I like dressing up or just, having fun with fashion. But in the past year, I've gotten really intentional about it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I hadn't probably updated my wardrobe in almost a decade. I mean, a few things here and there, like random stuff, but not like being intentional about curating like a wardrobe that really I felt like reflected my identity and my personality. So about a year ago, I started getting very intentional about it. And I've tried to do two things. One, I only wanted to buy a few pieces each season that I felt like I could kind of mix and match, from like sports coats to even like trousers to pants. I didn't wear pants for about 8 years because I didn't like the way they looked on me. So I only wore jeans. And now pants have become more tailored without getting them custom, which is expensive. And so finally got a few pieces each season that I felt like I could mix and match with. And then I have a motto on shop your closet because I have a lot of stuff sitting in there. And now I think I have enough like signature pieces where I can mix and match really well. And actually talking with Lonnie last week, one thing that their founder Alana said was you can get like, she mentioned like she got this dress from Target, but then she has like these like nicer accessories because she's really into slow fashion as opposed to fast fashion because it's more sustainable. She was sharing with us, and it supports the small boutiques rather than just, the big brands, which we want to support both. So she was saying you can support both with an and rather than an or. And so I'm trying to kind of follow that motto as well, where, I mean, we still want to support Target because people work there and we want to make sure they have jobs.
I love going to Target. It's
Yeah.
like a block away. It's
Yeah,
like
and
my
I wanna-
fast fix. Yes.
Yeah, and I want to support Man Ready Mercantile because they have really great curated things that real humans are making that they own, and we need to support the small too. So
we have like 3 or 4
Shop Your Closet.
designers inside SheSpace.
What?
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Just getting started. Bridal designer, a woman that kind of focuses. Petite, only does designs for dresses for petites. Then we have a woman that focuses on South American fashion. Yeah, we have like at least 3. Oh wait, and then we have a few women that do earrings, like amazing Annette Troyer, but that's a different story. But amazing women in here, and there's probably 8 or 9 that are in the fashion industry in some capacity.
That is so cool. I've also like kind of had this like subtle ambition. I don't know why, to kind of like debunk gender stereotypes in fashion.
Sure.
I mean, we've talked
about
there can be boundaries. There may not be. Maybe it's limitless. I mean, my creative brain says there's no limitations, but like I'm not doing it to do it. I just naturally I like bright, colorful things.
Me too.
And I enjoy that. And we were talking about shoes last week. It's really hard to find men's shoes that are bright and colorful. Most men's shoes tend to have more like, browns or blacks or like neutral tones. Like Nike will do it some, but even there, like I can't find like
outside of like a sport shoe, like you can get like a
that's
like
true.
A
Sports shoes are more likely to have it,
but like a knock around, it's just
it's just hard.
Like
it's harder to find.
Or even like a dress shoe.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
so that's
I
why
can imagine dress.
That's why my Lonnie shoes are amazing. Actually, I think I have a photo to show you because I'm so excited about them.
They're pretty cool. The fashion is Indian inspired, like India.
Wonderful.
And
and she works with local women from India that she like has a partnership with.
Like hand stitched.
She was the like head shoe designer at Anthropologie and then Old Navy, and then decided to leave and create her own universe of Lonnie. I mean, it really is a super. You would love her. It was a super cool brand.
Is she local? Or was she just
She's
here
just
for
in
this?
town this weekend. So
she's just here for the.
So that's my friend and I that bought matching shoes. Aren't they fascinating? Oh, I'm so excited. And the shoes I was wearing were already quite ridiculous. I have these handmade flower shoes.
Friend.
Oh yeah, Taylor's lovely.
Oh my gosh, I love those shoes.
Yeah, that's Taylor Gillespie, another rock star human, doing great things in the universe.
Great shout out.
Yeah, where is? Let's see. I don't know if I have the original shoes I was wearing. I don't think we started taking photos until later in the day. No, we didn't. But they're also very fun. They're from Taft, and they're like handmade flower shoes. So they're also super fun.
That's cool.
Taft has really cool shoes. They have all these like handmade flower patterns for guys. And I mean, or like male, female, you can, whatever your heart desires, but it's targeted at men right now.
I do love getting dressed up to go to work every day. Women do come in here And when I say dressed up, I mean put together.
Yes.
I don't mean dressed up.
Exactly.
I don't mean it's like an elevated,
like rocking.
No.
Yeah.
So like today I have to go to a memorial service at the end of the day and I'm speaking this evening and like, what do you like? So like, I still like, I'm like, I can't do like, I don't even wear black, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I don't wear black. This is very subdued for me, but it's subdued for, a reason. But I have this on, which kind of elevates the whole thing. But I really, a big part of my day.
And I love your earrings.
Thank
Beautiful.
you. A fun part of my day is figuring out what I'm going to wear for the day. That is a thing for me.
I agreed completely. One of my happiest moments.
That part. And then
it's like a puzzle.
Yeah. Like I'm shift this, shift that.
And different expressions because we like live in different sort of worlds. So
So when you end up doing like 4 or 5 different very disconnected things during the day, like what is the one thing that you're going to put on to get you through the day? Like what can you change out your shoes at the end of the day? Or if like me, like throw on I'm a big jacket person. So that's like putting together all the pieces of these very disconnected things in my life. And like, but I do not change during the day. I'm like, I'm going to wear one thing. I might like change out shoes or something, but it's got to be able to move
out
during
the agenda.
Day.
So you got me really excited when you said that because I thought about last Tuesday when we did the crossover episode with Under the Influencer.
Yeah.
So we did a crossover podcast on the rooftop of the Post.
Oh, that's
and
fun.
It was so fun. And so that morning I had a meeting at Greater Houston Partnership around like tech and innovation stuff. And then I needed to go into the studio to see the team. And work on a few priorities. And then we were doing the podcast episode and this guy and I were going to see Six the Musical, which is phenomenal. Yeah. Recommend it with everything in my being. Hamilton and Six are now my 2 favorite happiest of places to be.
My kids
Sky's
are
been
totally
singing
into
it.
Six.
Oh, Sky's been singing it
As
nonstop since Tuesday. And she has a beautiful voice. She was a vocalist. So that's also been magical. So what I did that day is I wore the blazer that you just saw. And it has on the back, which is obviously our philosophy of curiosity. And then I have curiosity on the inside. And all I did was bring that hat. And I already had that t-shirt on. And I just took the blazer off and put the hat on. And it just like 2 very different outfits with one shift. Blazer off, hat on.
Yep.
I was so happy about it.
Are you so proud of yourself?
I was so proud of myself.
I figured this out.
He really was. He took us through like the whole thing.
I was so proud of myself because I was like, I mean, I just took 2 very different looks. Like wearing that, I just look like I'm just chilling at the studio in design mode. But little do you know, hat off, blazer on, I'm just like back to like the fashion game. And it was so happy. And I got to wear my whiskey blooded hat, which whiskey is one of my favorite hobbies in life. And so like, not like in an overindulgent sense, more in like, I love the grain to glass story sense. It was beautiful.
Just want to clarify.
So I know we can't stay in here all day, although it would be so lovely because there's so many things I still wanted to touch on. So like innovation in tech. We have a lot of women in that space in here and every day it grows. It grows and grows just because it's appealing and it's interesting and it's kind of like it is the new frontier.
Yes. Especially in Houston.
Yes.
I mean, we're just barely 5 years in.
Yeah. And we're really, really pushing that in. No, we're not pushing that. We're embracing it because it's pushing itself. We're embracing it. We're welcoming. We're insisting in every way possible. So Div Inc. is running an accelerator out of here.
Huge fan of Div Inc. What's up, Ashley? We love you, buddy.
Yo, Ashley. Yeah. And he has an amazing team.
Every human in that group is amazing.
First in Texas, accelerator for women in tech is being run out of SheSpace and the Ion. So 2 days a week they're in here. They have an office in here for their program manager,
So cool.
Amanda.
That's
Go
incredible.
Amanda.
Hey, Amanda. Thank you.
And so all the founders have been in here.
Yes.
And so I love teaching. That is on my list. I want to be an adjunct professor. So hello, anybody that you think. My name's Stephanie Tsuru. You know where you can reach me. Anyway, so I
want
have
to be an adjunct professor. Walk into SheSpace.
Put it into the universe.
But, so I've really enjoyed my time with this accelerator because last week I did a 2-hour workshop, 3-hour workshop on storytelling. That's another whole thing.
Yes.
The value of storytelling, especially if you're a founder and you need.
But you did this last week?
Last Tuesday.
That's so cool. I did one last Thursday at the Ion with the Level Up program, which is I think an Accenture Microsoft partnership of some sort. I don't know. And so I just love that. Like last week was like a week of storytelling
week,
which I've been thinking about it this whole episode. So like storytelling in general.
It is about, and there's such value in it. And it is kind of has moved into being a business tool, whereas before
Yeah.
I think it was kind of like poo-poo to soft skill stuff.
Yeah.
I
despise the term soft skills, and I'm going to go on the record saying that because it has this like undertone of like lesser than.
Yeah, doesn't
the
it?
better
It's
way
very-
I've heard it explained is IQ and QI.
Okay,
And
what's QI?
Effectively like everything that IQ isn't, QI
Oh,
is.
the reverse of that.
Yeah, it's like the inverse of it, saying like the
it
balance
is,
of both.
Actually, it's insulting.
It's so insulting.
The term
I can't
soft
stand
skills,
it. Oh, you have
so-
great soft skills. Like
so I think it's like cognitive and emotional awareness.
yes.
So and so that's kind of storytelling fell in that poo-poo,
Yes.
not worthy.
I
And
understood it as the
honestly,
IQ versus EQ, like that emotional.
That's another, yeah. There's a lady that wrote a book on IQ and QI. She spoke at the Collaborative for Children luncheon a few years ago now. And another rockstar human, Melanie Johnson and team, making that beautiful. We had her on a few episodes ago, and that was such a magical experience.
QE statement though.
Yeah. QE?
Yeah, or whatever. EQ.
EQ.
Yeah.
I was like, is that a new one? I'm so excited.
You
Tell
got
me more.
with the QI.
Great. I don't know where we're going with that other than just
so this is
major
all about
excitement.
storytelling, right? I mean, what you guys do every time you have this is you're telling stories.
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it.
Let's lift them up.
Yes, tell great stories, and you do a class on it. So when you're an adjunct professor, you can do a class on storytelling. So hello, universities and
Lots
community
of opportunity for
colleges
that.
and
I mean,
junior colleges and
one of the
all
reasons we're doing
educational
what we're
outlets.
doing is because Houston generally, it's a really broad statement, they're really bad storytellers. Like
as a city, we're not known for doing a great job of telling our story.
I mean,
too technical. I mean,
I just don't think we feel a need to, because we're just kind of like doing our own thing. Like if you look at, I've heard someone say this before. They said, look at when Hurricane Harvey happened, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which many of us, if not all of us, were affected by in some way, shape, or form. Humans just rallied together and helped one another out. Like we just did it. Just rolled up our
Well,
sleeves.
it is what we do.
It's a city of doers, explorers.
rolled
It
up
is
our,
what
like,
we do.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of effort to sort of like take a step back and like tell people outside of this community
what we're doing.
up to.
We just kind of do it. We're just
And
doers.
It's a bit of the hypothesis also, like incumbent energy, the big oil and gas companies that are anchored here have never sort of bothered with like human interest stories or sort of telling that story.
I
It's
think
just
that's
sort of
very
like this very
accurate.
broad, like kind of faceless marketing. And for better or for worse, but like because of that, like there just is this big gaping hole of like the value of those enterprises and how that drives quality of life.
We
and
have lots of
things.
feels on this. Yeah.
And so there's just isn't like, there's not like a lot of like production studios or, writers and storytellers for, documentaries and things. There's growing activity.
I'm going
that's
to add
starting
one more thing when we were talking about, let's focus on the younger generation, is public speaking. So I think it's something that we all need to work on. I'm getting certified to teach public speaking.
See, there we go. We have another class.
So, because I think people here don't have confidence in their voice.
Sure.
Now, why is that? I don't understand. This is the most awesome city.
Confidence in our voice.
So
creative confidence and psychological safety are two very important things that I am just hearing kind of terminology around, but have often felt the punch in the face of that when it doesn't happen. And, as creatives and as storytellers, and it's not a lovely feeling. I mean, actually, so in my storytelling class, what I talk about is introspection and the power of being fully alive in your humanity, which is your spiritual, emotional, physical, intellectual, and financial well-being is just rocking and vibing. And how that is so critical, which then manifests itself as kind of that why, how, what. The core is the why, the how are our tools and resources and passions. And then the what is the outcome of the production of that. In this example, SheSpace, right? And so how all of that converging together is so important. And it's kind of rooted in the idea of creative confidence, because when we have creative confidence, because typically storytellers, public speaking, the bold ones, if you will, the crazy ones who, aren't so crazy when their ideas become like the next Apple. But in the process and in the journey, you're very vulnerable, like putting yourself out there. And so you need amazing self-confidence, and you need like amazing self-awareness and creative confidence and psychological safety within yourself, where it's not dependent on anyone else. And it almost creates like a sense of independence in order to really like create, innovate, build the future of the universe, advance society's big, beautiful priorities, et cetera. So I spend a lot of time with younger humans, especially on like, get this right and you will literally change the world and nothing's going to stop your standing
confidence is, I mean, you could have an unlimited supply of people and their variations of what makes them confident, or how are you confident, or why are you confident? Am I confident? All those confidence. That is the number one question I get.
Love that.
The number one question that I get is, where do you get your confidence?
Well, we have 2 questions now.
That's a great question to ask people. This might end up
being a bonus episode, I think. It's pretty
certainly
stellar.
Could. We do have history. Like half the guests, it's like there's like the 45-minute version of the episode,
and then
we just release a bonus episode.
Extended.
This might be the like fireside chat bonus episode, and the question is, where do you get your confidence?
And what I like about the question, and I do have to go because I see women flagging me down outside. What I like about the question, it's they need to dig deep and answer that question for themselves.
Wow. Oh my gosh. I am so inspired.
I don't even know that. When people ask me that, that is my hardest question to answer, because I just like, I don't really know the answer to that question.
Well, and in some ways, even if you did, it might not be helpful to that individual.
No, and
like,
I think
that's the
each
discovery
person
challenge
has
is such
to
an important
figure
piece.
that out for themselves. And I think it's a very valuable question to ask everyone.
You can't take Stephanie's confidence off the shelf and just consume it for myself. Like I have to find.
And I just think that comes down to
be inspired by it.
Yeah, the fear factor, like conquering the fear. But again, we could be here for weeks. So.
Well, and maybe like my rounding thought on that would be, there was another book that I read, part of, I actually never even finished it. It was by a guy named Bob Goff. And he talked about this story of, it's a very random story. He has a place in Alaska, apparently. Some neighbor flies in on a helicopter. I'm like, is this even real life? Like, whose neighbor flies in on a helicopter? But this happened. He doesn't know the guy at all. He points to him and he's like, get in the helicopter. He gets in the helicopter. This whole story, I'm like, what? And they land on the top of an ice cap. Then they go under the ice cap. And so he tells this whole story with a stranger, right? This whole moment is very interesting in itself. Talk about an adventurous spirit.
And talk about a storyteller.
Yeah. And then he tells this beautiful metaphor of like, get under the ice cap of your own humanity. What's in there? Where's the tension?
Whoa.
Where's the friction? What's beautiful? What's magical? Like, what's off? What do you not? What's the ugly stuff you're not willing to address? And like, hit it all head on and let that be your starting point of exploring your why and discovering your identity as a human being and being fully alive in your own humanity. And I was like, I mean, I'm using my language, but like, I was like, that's it. I need to get under the ice cap of my own humanity and existence.
So I'm not going to go on forever, but I often start with that in the SheSpace story. So you're just seeing the tip of the iceberg. SheSpace is just the tip of the iceberg. Wow. I mean, it's like just a tiny bitty bit sticking up, but everything that is under the water, everything, that is where SheSpace started in the origin. But that is what's holding up this tiny little thing. And that's the stuff that nobody sees. I start with that sometimes.
Yeah.
But not today.
I'm just going to go
So today we're ending with it.
Yeah. And boom.
Boom indeed.
Oh, boom.
Thank you for listening. Join Brad and Scott next time on the Curiosity Podcast.